Good morning, Anetta, Mangxaba. Welcome to Indigenous Languages Action Forum Conversations. Here we have conversations about Indigenous languages, and we heard about your great work with independent news and media in various Indigenous languages. So before you tell us what it is, could you please tell us about yourself, how you got into this, and why you're doing this work?
Yes. Good morning, Siki. Good morning. Thank you for having me. The journey started 14 years ago. Like any normal South African, you find yourself at a place where you're no longer employed. What do? You can't find a job. And here you are. You're sitting and you have bills to pay. You have a family to look after. And we sit and together with my husband, we're like, okay, what pool of skills do we have? What are we going to do? Because both of us are unemployable. We're over 35 years of age. There's no other way for us. What do we do? My husband, coming from a journalistic background and having the passion for writing, says, okay, why don't we start a newspaper? Because it has always been my dream, but I never thought I would start it because I was a radio DJ, so I didn't think outside. I thought it would be something that I maybe pursue as a hobby or something like that.
What's your husband's name?
My husband, Edward Mangxaba.
All right.
Yeah, he used to work for the former Transkei, Radio Transkei, and he was a journalist for the Daily Dispatch as well, and a sports presenter. They called him. Yeah. So he has the journalistic background. I just come from a normal HR, administrative, sales background, and we thought, oh, why not? Like any other dream. Okay, you have the dream. It's looking good. Where's the money going to come from? We tried to sell this dream to our family. We tried to sell the dream to our friends. And everyone was like, no, you want a day where eagles fly. How can you start a newspaper? Do you know even what you're talking about? Okay, but long story short, my husband, I will always call him an angel. I will always call this man an angel because my husband met him at a time where we were so despondent, and we've tried all avenues to secure funds just to get the business off the ground and for people to believe in what we want to do. And he stumbles across this gentleman at Paul Coates, and this gentleman says to him, you know what? There is a place that funds people like you for the kind of newspaper that you want to start. And when you receive that news, it's giving you hope. You're despondent, but you also think, is it going to work? Will they consider us? But in any way, what more do we have to lose? We can only try. So we applied with the MDDA in 2009. For about a year, we don't hear anything from them. It's quiet. We're like, okay, it's one of those disappointments again. Until this one beautiful day when we received the call, and it's someone from the MDDA, and they want to come and see us because our application is being considered. I'm telling you, we were pinching each other is this really true? Did they really? And Siki, you must know, we didn't have money to pay a consultant to do our business plan. So everything was done from internet cafes. And at that time, my father bought us a computer, and we were sitting and we were downloading a business plan templates and completing just with the knowledge between the two of us and the requirements of the MDDA. And we sat days, I'm telling you, days communication. And for us to receive that call to say that we are considered was a wow. It was amazing, I'm telling you. And the gentleman comes, we don't have an office. And at that time, we asked one of these government institutions, I think it was Red Door or something, and we asked them if we can use their boardroom because we are meeting an important client for potential funding. And they allowed us to use the boardroom to meet the gentleman from the MDDA. I'm telling you, we are all tucked up, we are nicely dressed, and we are here to meet this guy. And we still don't believe. We think maybe this is a prank, or maybe they just trying to check us out. And we meet the gentleman, and he explains everything. And it's like, we're not even hearing half of what he's saying. We are just looking at the documents and thinking, is this really happening? We signed the contracts. I'm telling you, he's gone. And we still not this we won't believe. We will believe it the day we receive the money in our bank account. I'm telling you. Oh, Siki, and the dream became a reality.
Wow.
It became a reality 14 years down the line. We're so passionate about what we're doing. And I must tell you, me, myself, not having a journalistic background, and also not having the foundation of a Xhosa background, being Xhosa myself, because I went to Afrikaans schools. So I didn't study Xhosa esikolweni, and it was really a learning curve, a challenging experience. At the same time, also not being a journalist, you face that where you go into an industry of people speaking terminology that you don't understand. But I must tell you, 14 down the line, nobody can tell me about the media industry. I have empowered myself in every course ever that I can just know what I'm talking about.
Oh, wow.
And it's amazing. You know, you cannot be in this business if it is about money, first of all. It is really a business of love, passion. And for Dizindaba, the dream was about...
So is it
Dizindaba, yes.
Okay.
Dizindaba, iphephandaba lesiXhosa. The idea also came about that, as you know, Western Cape, predominantly Afrikaans, there was no real Xhosa platform. So Dizindaba is one of the first coming with a 95% isiXhosa newspaper.
When you say 95, what's the rest of the 5%?
The sport, our sport we do in English.
Oh, okay.
The rest of the content of the newspaper is in isiXhosa.
But you also know how popular Xhosa sports commentary is.
Yes, I know. We know. What we're doing now, we are blending the sport. Remember, sport is diverse also. So we don't want to limit as if we are only focusing about Xhosa. With the sport, we try to diversify, because sometimes we would have cricket teams of the colored communities. We would have netball from the colored communities. So that we don't want to exclude them.
So you focus mainly on local news?
Local and national.
Local and national.
Yeah, so if
you speak Afrikaans and your background is Afrikaans, why don't you use both Afrikaans and Xhosa?
No, you know, Siki, the thing is, there's already so many Afrikaans newspapers, and there is not a Xhosa newspaper that focuses on Xhosa. And we feel Dizindaba can play a better role there. We have had, however, requests from the Afrikaans communities that we service. Remember, most of our communities are mixed now. So we've had people asking us, can't we do an Afrikaans version of Dizindaba as well? And we are considering it, but it's not something that to focus on, because we feel Dizindaba is our baby, is where we want to put in all the resources, preserve the language, encourage the culture of reading.
Okay, so who are your writers, and how did you start sourcing writers, and how did you decide that you're going to choose to do a Xhosa newspaper instead of an English one? You know, and like, what drew you to make that decision that, okay, this is what we're going to doing, and this is our niche?
Yes, the reason for that, like I said, we've done our research. At the time, there was no Xhosa newspaper in the Western Cape. There was no, apart from one of the mainstream, which is this a title, but not much of Xhosa content. So that's our first point of entry. There was no communication or no newspaper that is fully fledged isiXhosa, like your fully fledged Afrikaans newspapers. And also the reason why we felt it is important that we have a Xhosa newspaper is you would see that the municipalities would do their notices in Afrikaans, they would do their notices in English, but there is nothing catering for AmaXhosa in the Western Cape. And I must tell you, in the beginning, it was a fight. Because they were used to not having a Xhosa medium, but we have, I would not say successfully, but at least we have opened those channels and those doors, and they have welcomed the idea of Dizindaba being there, and also using Dizindaba to communicate their notices in isiXhosa, because at least according to the law, they must at least advertise in 3 languages. So they were using the 2 already, so why not use isiXhosa as well? And if they are not doing that, it means they are not rendering a service to the isiXhosa news inhabitants of the Cape Peninsula as well as the Cape Winelands, because we distribute in the Cape Peninsula, which is your Khayelitsha, Gugulethu, Nyanga, Strand, Delft, Langa, all those areas.
And then, so it's a print newspaper.
It's a print newspaper. It's a print. After COVID, however, in fact, during COVID, we were forced to go online as well. So now we are online as well. We have a website which is updated. We used to update it weekly, but now we update it fortnightly. And we do have a Facebook page as well, where we update as soon as we print. We update our online platforms as well.
Do you have your own offices, or do you how do you work?
No. We used to have offices, but we don't have offices anymore. We operate from home.
Ever since COVID?
Yes. So
do you have an example of your paper?
Yes. I wanted to show you. So this is the publication.
Wow.
Yes,
very nice.
And this is the stories that we cover. Preserving the language, preserving the culture. I just want to show you another one. There's another one of the Indonis.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have this.
So why don't you get it to the Eastern Cape as well?
That's our next move. That's our next move. That is 2025 goal. So and the reason why we're also going to venture into the Eastern Cape, but we're starting with the Chris Hani district, because that's where there's a niche there. There's market that is not catered for there.
Yes. And the news that are not covered there.
Yes, we have a content blend, however, of Eastern Cape and Western Cape news. Okay. So the reason for that is most of the inhabitants, the Xhosa inhabitants that is residing in the Western Cape, comes from the Eastern Cape.
And they want to know what's happening.
They want to know what's happening in their hometown. And I must tell you, Siki, that is what makes Dizindaba so popular. Because Bafunindaba zasemakhaya, they want to know kwenzeka ntoni eMdantsane, kwenzeka ntoni eLusikisiki, kwenzeka ntoni eDutywa. And it's working for us. It has been working really. We had to explain sometimes to some people why we're doing the content blend. And we say, remember, these people are here for work, but you will find out the earnings are invested where they come from. They still build their homes in the East Cape. They still go back to the Eastern Cape for rituals and things like that. So what's happening in their hometown is still as important as where they are now.
So you have journalists that are based in the Eastern Cape, and then
yes, we have three. We have three journalists based in the Eastern Cape. We have one that is covering Umtata and surroundings. We have one that is doing the Amatole district, that is doing Komani, Lady Frey, Kofimbaba, Kala, and those areas. And then we have my husband, who is the senior journalist as well as the editor, who also covers stories, national stories, local stories, and then we work on statements that we get from various municipalities, and also where meetings and things that we attend locally. Yes.
Wow, what an amazing story. So if someone is listening to this and then they say, oh, I'd like to be a journalist for their paper. What can they do?
No, what you can do, you can drop us an email, you can go on our website, you can go on our Facebook. It's Dizindaba, iphephandaba lesiXhosa. Or it's, the website is www.dizindaba.co.za, and our Dizindaba is DIZINDABA. So it's dizindaba.co.za. All our information is on our website.
I must say it's a very nice name.
Yeah, it's news reveal.
Yeah, it's like Dizindaba.
So the name has become a household brand. I'm telling you, when people are gossiping, they say, nangu Dizindaba. Yeah, I'm telling you, I would be walking with my husband and people will be like, Dizindaba, you are not taking note of us now because you are walking with this lady. And you would be like, this is my wife.
Wow, this is wonderful news. So you're saying now that your next step is that you are moving to the eastern, you're moving to the OR Tambo district, to the Cresani district.
Cresani.
It sounds like you could even have a market in Johannesburg.
We actually had some requests from Johannesburg. You know that we had requests as far as Zimbabwe.
Wow. Oh, because of the community.
Because of the language. Ngamanguni, yeah. So Mandebele.
Wow.
Yes. So we're trying with what we have. We are trying, Siki. You know the industry, you know the challenges. But really, by grace, we are surviving. A lot of our peers have closed down. People who have been in the industry for 20 years and more.
Yeah, because journalism has been is going through some serious challenges.
Yes, and we see how it goes with the big media houses as well. But I always say, and this is something that was said by one of our professors when we were in the US, in Ohio, at Ohio University. He said, print is not dying. Print is just falling into its niche. Like any other evolving, like, remember, we're coming from the dialing phone, but now we have our computers literally on our phones, and you can do basically everything on your phone anywhere and everywhere. That's the same as print. Print is just making way for the new technology, but print is still going to be there for some time because not everyone has access to digital news. Not everyone has access to internet. Not everyone has a smartphone that you can sit and read. And abogogo ezilalini bazofunda indaba ezifonini. They're not gonna read indaba ezifonini. Abogogo bethu basafuna ipaper, the literal paper to read. And you know, Siki, we have a page that we don't compromise on in our publication, and that is our religious page. And you know how popular that page is because people see their church members in the publication and they want to cut out those pictures and store it somewhere.
So what does the religious page, what's on the religious page?
It's just pictures of various churches. That's all. We don't want to open it up to different preachings and stuff. Because we don't want that conflict between churches. So what we do, we just give them a platform to put their congregants. So they can send, and we put their congregants and the name of their church and where the church is based. That's all that we put there. And they love it. They love it. I'm telling you, our WhatsApps are flooded. And the same goes for the local sports. Because they see their clubs published in the publication and we do it for them for free, they love it. They love it, seeing their clubs, seeing themselves in the newspapers. It's an amazing thing.
If we compare to the online paper, because now you're also digital, right?
Yeah.
And you're in print. What's the comparison? And because with print, I suppose you can't really tell how many people have read it, but you do know that it's been, it's so. And where do people purchase them? First of all,
and it's free.
It's free. It's a free paper.
Free publication.
Where do you place it?
What we do, we distribute at taxi ranks, shopping malls, clinics, schools, and in certain areas where it's safe for our vendors to move, we do door to door. So we have the train stations as well. When before the cable theft and things like that in Cape Town, the trains actually showed us the best readership, because people would engage and they would say, I got this paper at a certain train station, and they would send their newspapers and things like that. So that's what it yielded. We had great engagement when we were distributing at the trains, but now we do taxi ranks, we do schools, we do clinics. Our clinics also very good, and we do our
because people are waiting already.
They are waiting, so they have ample time to read. And then we also do the schools. The schools actually request themselves for the paper because they use it for teaching the language.
Oh wow!
Because we don't use slang. We try to use the original of the language, and we have subscribers as well. The University of Stellenbosch is our biggest subscriber. We have CPUT that is subscribing. So and they also use the paper for research for the language, which is good. Great. And in 2014, Pearson used our front page in a mock exam paper for the grade 9s. So those are the little achievements that shows us that someone values what we do.
Yeah, it's valuable.
And if you don't print, Siki, they call, they want to know, where's the paper? Why haven't we haven't seen this paper for a long time. So it encourages us. Even sometimes if you feel discouraged, but once you see a message like that, you're like, okay, let me continue. Let me do this thing. Someone values it. Someone needs it.
And do you perhaps also have like maybe some news on like TikTok, just to kind of distribute, maybe if you've got like a viral story?
We are evolving to those platforms.
Maybe if you have like some younger people,
human capital, they need. And you need to be constant. Remember, TikTok is instant. So you can't come with stale things on TikTok and things like that. So all 2025 plans that we are working on.
That's great. So thank you so much. But there was something that you also mentioned at the other talk where we were. You mentioned other languages that you the border network of
so as much as I love my baby, that is Dizindaba, that is owned by Dizindaba Media, I am also the chairperson of the Association of Independent Publishers. So we have members across the country in all the 9 provinces, publishers like myself coming from the townships that we service, distributing also for free in the various languages of our country. So we like literally cover all the languages because we are scattered all over the country. We have publishers in the Eastern Cape, as far as Limpopo, in Johannesburg, and we're just doing this great work. So
what are the other exciting newspapers in other languages that you have seen as you've been part of that board?
As being part of the board, we have newspapers in Sesotho, we have newspapers in Sepedi, isiZulu, we have other Xhosa newspapers as well. We have Afrikaans newspapers. So we have really a variety of languages in the various communities that we service. And like some of our publishers are award-winning. They win awards for the kind of stories that they cover. We even have online publishers like Umbele that specializes on financial education in isiZulu, by the way.
Yes. I've met
so that's one of our members, and Slee is also one of our board members at the Association of Independent Publishers. So we are doing this great work in our communities, in our languages, trying to preserve our languages, trying to cultivate the culture of reading amongst our and also that belief that English is superior than our languages. that we really, because I'm one of those children that I always say was done injustice to, of not being taught my mother tongue. But through Dizindaba, I have at least I've regained some of the basics, because I can also edit now and know that this what is written here is not it. It's not it. But I believe if I had the school foundation of my mother tongue, I would have made a better impact than what I'm making now. But I'm trying. I'm trying the best.
You're making an impact, and you're growing and you're learning.
And I have a good mentor. I have a good mentor that is my husband as well. That is very, very, very passionate about the language.
That's very good. Because you can't do this work if you're not passionate about the language.
No, you can't.
And you couldn't
that
have
is what I've learned.
Yeah,
early,
and you couldn't have chosen the route of the paper, doing a paper in Xhosa. You have to love the language and believe
you
in
have
it.
You have to. And you know the challenge that we also had over the years, Siki, and that's why it's also so difficult for us to get journalists, is because journalists don't want to write in indigenous languages. They want to write in English, and they want us to translate the stories, and I'm like, you can't do this. Try and value your language. Make yourself unique by writing in your own language. And that's actually a conversation that we're having also on the AIP level now, is that where we go around, we have a relations with Northwest and with WITS, where we're trying to encourage journalists to write in their mother tongue.
Yes, and you can tell when a story has been written in the indigenous language.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Or when it's been translated, and it's there's a creative way that people use words when they're writing in indigenous languages. Use phrases that could create phrases that you've never even heard of sometimes.
Exactly, like when you read the stories of my husband and you compare to the stories of the freelancers, you can see the difference. And we make sure that it has the same tone and the language used is proper. But you can see there's a difference.
So your husband mentors young writers. So your husband mentors young writers.
Only the ones that writes for us. Only that writes for us. Yes, he mentors them. But we haven't gone into that where we mentor others. No, we haven't.
Yeah, because you've got your hands full there, with the work that.
All right. We're already multitasking as it is.
Yes. Thank you so much, Anetta, for telling us about Dizindaba. Can people find it on Facebook as well, or is it just online straight?
Facebook and our website. And we come out every second week. Like this week, we're having an edition. So we're coming out. So if you are at the shopping mall in Khayelitsha, and also at any Boxer store, all our Boxer is our biggest client, and we leave our copies at Boxer stores. So if you miss it maybe at the taxi rank or at the clinic, you can go to any Boxer store in all our distribution areas, in Strand, in Khayelitsha, in Gugulethu, in Langa, in Paarl, in Worcester. You will get a Dizindaba copy.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to us. Is there any last message you'd like to leave with the listeners?
Never allow people to talk down or to limit you on your dreams. If you believe in something, make sure that you start it, you do it. If you fail, at least you've tried. And that is what happened to us at Dizindaba. If we believed 14 years ago everything that was said to us, we would not be here today.
Because I'm sure everyone was telling you that indigenous languages are dying. Why are you writing?
Why do you want to write in Xhosa? People don't read, all those kind of things. Yeah, but we are so proud of ourselves, and we are so glad that we pursued and persisted. We can look back and we can tap ourselves on our shoulders and say, well done.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, and well done, and continue. And we look forward to seeing Dizindaba all over the Eastern Cape, which is where I am. So thank you so much, and congratulations with your work.
Thank you, Siki.